Good morning. Today is National Coming Out Day. I've been out for so long that it seems like second nature, like it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter, but it does matter. Coming Out Day is a chance to remind ourselves that we are different. Different in ways that haven't been easy, to say the least. When I came out in the early 1980s, I went through a period of inner turmoil. It's hard when your insides don't match your outsides and when you're still trying to be like everyone else. Perhaps that's why I still maintain that pretending to be like everyone else is dangerous. I can see where all the Unitarian Universalist principles pertain to coming out, particularly in a religious context. But the first principle, the inherent worth and dignity of every person, is what pertains in particular to National Coming Out Day. We all have inherent worth and dignity, regardless of whoever we are. Homophobia is fueled by fear. To show you how I perceive fear working and how everything is connected, particularly oppression, I am going to read from my recently completed memoir, The Lens of Eternity, Love from Two Pandemics. I was deeply disturbed by the news of racist violence, particularly when it was close to home. One day, I opened my email and learned that a Black trans woman was beaten in her home in Philadelphia. Thoughts about this ran through my mind during my yoga class with a teacher, our own Jane Holting, had us do our meditation at the end of that class that we now took remotely. Yoga helped immensely in my thoughts of the importance of forgiveness being non-judgmental. But as someone from a working class background, I strongly believe that the death penalty, when warranted in the legal court of law, was the only thing that some of the people or most doing the racist violence would understand, and that it does act as a deterrent. My anger made me feel momentarily better, but the news still made me shudder. I lay on the floor and reminded myself that I had courage and that I was still going to kiss my partner on the lips when we were outside the house, regardless of who was around, including the alt-right young man who came to visit next door and gave us hostile looks. Mount Airy is a very blue neighborhood, but as fate would have it, we live next to one of the three remaining houses on our block that supports a large American flag hanging out front on the porch, even when there isn't a national holiday. Our backyards are the length of bowling alleys, and the house next door with the American flag has an above-ground pool in the back, and they've continued to have their socially distanced pool parties on major holidays. I have a fear of large, potentially unruly mobs of drunken white people. And so we've become accustomed to staying in the house during these events. Now, of course, everything is different. And we make ourselves extra scarce. By our neighbors' behavior, the people are our age was well behaved compared to when the younger generation, including the alt-right young man, came to house it. Everything is relative. The alt-right young man I could tell by a bumper sticker on his pickup where American flag swimming trunks to the parties. My private nickname for him was Fancy Pants. We've had our issues with our American flag waving neighbors over the years, particularly the ones across the street have since moved away. But it helps to have an oppositional nature. I couldn't wait to wear my rainbow t-shirt that had Kamala written on it for Kamala Harris and proudly take my walks. Fear is a result of racist violence. If it is allowed to go on, the violence and the resulting fear, then we would all feel obligated to act like we're just like everyone else. Everyone is at least a little different, and to pretend otherwise is dangerous. As I lay on the floor, the gentle voice of the Vietnamese Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh washed over me as he rang his bell and talked. When another person makes you suffer, it is because he suffers deeply within himself, and his suffering is spilling over. He does not need punishment, he needs help. I breathed in and sat with my conflicting emotions and meditated on Thich Nhat Hanh's words. When another person makes you suffer, it is because he suffers deeply within himself, and his suffering is spilling over. He does not need punishment, he needs help. As I meditated, I could feel the tensions between my mind and body and my conflicting feelings about the death body and forgiveness. I reminded myself that it was okay to have contradictory feelings. I have always loved Walt Whitman's poetry, especially when he wrote, I am large, I contain multitudes. As I laid on my mat, I wish that everyone could experience the words of Thich Nhat Hanh. I breathed in and out, wishing the roots of true happiness for everyone. Namaste.